Welcome to a special edition of the Group Practice Accelerator podcast, brought to you by Polaris Healthcare Partners, where we leverage decades of healthcare and business experience to drive growth in successful group practices just like yours. If you're a healthcare entrepreneur and you're interested in building, scaling, or exiting your group practice, you've found not only the industry's leading resource for business education, but a team of trusted advisors dedicated to helping you achieve and exceed your goals. In short, the team at Polaris creates clarity, confidence, and results. I'm your host, Jamie Falash, and the Group Practice Accelerator podcast is on the air. Well, hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. As you might have caught in the intro, today's episode is a special edition, and I'm really excited because we have a big announcement to make, and I've been wanting to share that with you all for a little time here. So I'm going to get right into it and kind of tee it up for you first. So, as you know, our mission here at Polaris is to accelerate the growth of healthcare businesses and to help you achieve maximum value, all while you're focusing on what you want, the legacy you envision, the expansion you see as a business owner. So we dig into that vision and apply strategy, expertise, and even some inspiration to bring that full picture to life. And that's whether through de novo or acquisition. As you also know, as a listener to our weekly podcast, we like to boost that strategy by partnering with others who share our mission and who are best in class when it comes to executing on your plan. So building is exciting, as we know, it's purposeful. And ingrained in that purpose is the design around how we execute that growth strategy, the design around how we operate, and of course, the design of the spaces where that vision and our growth actually plays out every day. So naturally, the team at Polaris has joined forces with Midmark, the premier player in the world of purposeful design. And here comes a big announcement. Polaris and Midmark are excited to bring you Multisite Mastery, designing growth with confidence, an exclusive and immersive event to be held March 25th through 27th at the beautiful Midmark Design Center in Versailles, Ohio. And here with me today to tell you all about the event are Midmark VP of Sales, Ted Kehagias, and Polaris CEO, Diwakar Sinha. Gentlemen, great to have you here with me today.
Thank you, Jamie. Great to be here.
Well, I know our audience is ready to learn all about this Multisite Mastery event, so we'll get started. And Diwakar, I'm going to start with you. Can you give us a little background on the genesis of the event, your perspective maybe on the state of the industry, meaning when we think of this event, what's our why around it?
Sure. Yeah. So I think as when we were thinking about crafting the event, we looked at where the industry is in 2025, coming out of 2024. Obviously, we saw the Fed funds rate come down here recently, and we're going to see big momentum going into Q4. I think there's some indications of continued rate reductions going into. So I think 2026 going into when this event will be held will be fairly robust as far as economic activity. So there's a lot of transactions happening as emerging groups are growing, evaluating two decisions. Should they be thinking about acquisitions? Should they be thinking about de novos? And there's a lot of amazing opportunities through acquisitions to think about. And we're going to be discussing those opportunities at this event. But there's also a lot of green space in the market as far as de novos go and how to think about de novos effectively. And I think that's an understated proposition out there and how to think about them and return on capital. I talked about that on a couple of podcasts ago. Got a lot of great feedback about it. And here we're actually going to break down the science and math around what that de novo strategy looks like. And I couldn't be more excited than partnering up with Ted and the Midmark team, and very gracious for them to host it in Versailles, Ohio, with that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ted.
Sure. Thank you, Docker. Hey, great to be here with both of you, and really excited about the event that we're going to host here in 2026. But before we get into the specifics about the event, let's just kind of talk about the dental industry in general. And, we continue to see expansion within the dental industry. Dental industry continues to grow. More importantly, there's over 200,000 practicing dentists in the U.S. today. But certainly the dental industry is facing a lot of challenges, not uncommon with any other industry that, we're accustomed to. We're starting to see a diverse and a changing industry. We're seeing younger, more diverse dentists. And today we're seeing more graduates that are females from dental school than ever before. More importantly, practice models are continuing to change and shift. We're seeing that private practice or sole practitioners are continuing to decline. And group practices and DSOs are continuing to expand, with roughly 1 in 6 dentists today are affiliated with a DSO. And many of the younger dentists that are graduating from dental school opt to go in with a group or a DSO practice because they really need to be able to support, the growing debt that they incurred during dental school. And economically, and I don't think this is any different, within the dental industry, but economically, costs are rising. But more importantly, the wages for dental practices, dentists, and assistants hygienists are not growing in tandem with inflation. So we're starting to see that, dentists are practicing more hours. And more importantly, they're practicing longer and postponing retirement. So as we're looking ahead within a dental school enrollment, I mean, it's robust. There's 69 dental schools today, and we're graduating more and more dentists than ever before. So supply will continue to keep up pace with demand, but growth is really in favor of efficiency and well organized practices. And to stay profitable, practices need to standardize their workflows and really smart inventory systems to do more with a leaner workforce. So in short, we're starting to experience, the growth in the dental practice, but contraction from economies are making it a lot more challenging for practices to grow profitably. So we're seeing a diverse workforce, steady DSO growth. We're starting to see geographic gaps and a strong push for efficiency to really define the growth of the dental practice.
Well, and you both touched on a couple of really common aspects here, and that's growth and challenges, which brings us to the purpose of the event. So I'd like to hear both of your perspectives on the purpose of an event we're calling Multisite Mastery, and maybe who's the event for and what can attendees expect to learn.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So I think this is for emerging groups, right? So, and just to kind of use that term loosely a little bit, it's for groups 3, 5, 10, 15 locations that are looking to continue to expand their business model. They may be doing currently acquisitions or evaluating a de novo strategy. They might be in a de novo strategy today, trying to understand how can I make this a better, more efficient process as I continue to expand in that model. So I think that's one fundamental aspect of growth strategy and continue to grow on that. Or today they may be in a flat model saying, okay, can I continue to grow? How do I grow in this market? So that's one aspect. The other aspect is somebody that is trying to understand, what does de novo strategy look like for me on a revenue basis? What does the return on capital look like? That's what they should be thinking about when they're coming to this event. Legal strategy within a de novo model. Partnership strategy. Do I need to bring in associate doctor partners location by location? What does site selection look like? Demographics needs to look like. What does location by location for specialty versus general going to look like as far as demographics go? So we're going to break down a lot of the business aspects of it, marketing aspect of it, going into it, those kind of aspects of the marketing side.
Yeah, definitely. So I think what's unique about this event, different than other events, you're not going to sit and just listen to subject matter experts just explaining what they know. More importantly, it's going to be a workshop. We want to make sure that you leave this event with a clear understanding of what steps you need to take next. Want to instill confidence in you to make sure that you put those steps forward and execute on those steps. And we feel that the majority of seminars that you attend, execution is really the thing that continues to drive profitable growth or initiatives within a dental practice. So you will leave here with fundamentals that you can implement as soon as you get back to your dental practices, be able to scale, can be able to grow, and be able to standardize.
Absolutely. And there's so much to cover in that couple of days that we'll all be together, but we have a broad range of topics that get very granular. And like you said, Ted, you can take those things back and implement them on Monday morning.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Diwakar, you mentioned something earlier about de novos. This is just about de novos, or is it de novo and acquisition? Can you give a little more clarity on that?
Yeah, so I think I talked a little bit about what de novo strategy is going to look like on it, but we're also going to talk about acquisitions. So some of our audience members also look at acquisitions, and when you're doing acquisitions, there's also capex requirements around acquisitions. So how to think about the right acquisition, and if you can't find the right acquisition, how to pivot to a de novo, and vice versa. I think we want to provide that balanced approach, and to what Ted just mentioned, having the Monday morning action plan. And what does building meaningful equity look like? I think as entrepreneur, dentists and business owners come to this event, they're trying to figure out which strategy allows building meaningful equity for them, meaningful business, and allows the best access to care in their geography, and allows the best long term value for them and best access to capital. So a lot of these guys and gals are borrowing debt and are looking for access to capital long term. And so, what is the best strategy for them? So, and we're going to give them that process also.
And Ted, can you talk to us a little bit about some of the things that Midmark specializes in? I mean, I'm familiar with Midmark from past experience, but can you tell our audience a little bit more about what we're going to be looking at in terms of standardization and efficiencies to scale and challenges and things like that?
Sure. Then this is what's exciting about, having two organizations like this that can really help a dental practice scale and grow. So from the acquisition point of view, you start acquiring practices. Then it's a matter of how do we standardize to continue to grow profitably. So one of the things that, we'll talk about several things, during this workshop, but more importantly, when you think about standardization and efficiencies to scale, we're going to make it really basic, like standardizing a room, setting up a room for everyday operatory identification so any procedure can be performed in any room. And that's really important that all the rooms are the same. Secondly, having visual management and high contrast storage. So think about glass front cabinets and quick visuals that really reduce the decision making and speed up retrieval of instruments, of cassettes, or just basic consumables. And then also just think about a flow first layout. So, separate patient and clinical parts. So think about the example of like a central sterilization area with dual entry. And what we're trying to do is improve the proximity to imaging, the reducing wasted steps within a dental practice. So if you think about it, when you have a challenge, as I mentioned earlier, with being able to hire staffing, really what you're trying not to do is hire staff, but you're trying to reduce steps to improve efficiency. So the last thing I want to mention around this is the flexibility space and having a flex space. So, designing operatories and storage with the future in mind
Mm.
to be able to adapt technology so you don't have to make changes to that space in the future. So you can utilize mobile carts and use that room for multi-purpose procedures.
Boy, there's so much to consider after that initial purchase is made, acquisition or de novo. And I'm excited for all the content we have in this couple of day event. And I think all of our audience members are going to really benefit and walk away with some really clear strategies in their bag for Monday morning. Well, Ted and Diwakar, it was so wonderful to have you both here today to share the news of our Multisite Mastery event coming in March. I know you're both as excited as I am about it.
Thank you,
Yeah, I look forward to
Dean.
seeing everyone.
Likewise. And really, just in summary, I really just want to share a couple things. Look, the dental industry is growing, but we're certainly under pressure. Practices face rising costs, uneven geographic distribution of providers. And while the workforce continues to be younger, more diverse, and increasingly group practices oriented, for manufacturers and service partners, this environment truly will reward efficiency solutions, standardized workflows, and will support the group practices and DSOs that, as we talked about earlier, and Walker, you said so well, they can continue to scale and grow while controlling expenses, but keep their mind keenly focused on the patient and specifically their team.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And to our audience, please be on the lookout for registration that opens in October. And don't miss out on early bird pricing as well. Seats are limited. If you sign up for our newsletter through the website or subscribe to our podcast, you can stay up to date on all Multisite Mastery event news. As always, if you want to connect with us here at Polaris, please reach out via email at info@polarishealthcarepartners.com, or you can visit our website and hit the Contact Us button and leave your information there, and we'll be in touch. Thanks so much for being a loyal listener and subscriber. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a colleague and be sure to leave us a rating on any of your favorite podcast platforms. We'll see you on the next episode of the Group Practice Accelerator Podcast.